All right. Up to you. Good afternoon, everyone. If it isn't the special support section, I take it you've been securing the conference floors for everyone. That's right. We managed to eke out an assignment as part of the security. So this room is where they've stashed all the big guns, is it? Metaphorically speaking, of course. Bet every last person in here is a ranking officer. Correct. By all accounts, this room alone could prevent a major incident. Absolutely, not to mention Senior Captain Schwarz's swordsmanship. I've heard it's as fearsome as it is elegant. You're far too kind, it's nothing so extraordinary. That being said, no matter what happens, no one will lay so much as a finger on Her Highness, I swear it. Trust us to protect the conference room, and we will trust you to keep watch over the other floors. Of course, thank you. Who are you guys? Random people that don't deserve to have their text read out loud. Randy say something about pistol whipping? And talk to these guys. Right, those are just Ramatharian guardsmen. These are Republican guardsmen. I don't know if Mr. JRPG is still here, but I remember reading somewhere that all of the regions in the Trails world kind of, I don't want to say mirror, but you know, they're loosely based on, very loosely based on some of the other real world regions. Well, I wonder if Calvard is supposed to be United States when, you know, they have like president and stuff like that. So this is where they put all the lunch boxes. Are they Lunchables? Alright, mission, get on the double. Yeah, you kind of recall that and thought the same? Okay. I can't believe that woman would. No, I'm sure of it this time. Who's he mumbling about? Excuse us, Vice Commissioner Pierre. What? Special support section. Oh, joy. Well, can I help you? If I may ask, Vice Commissioner, what are you doing here? Teal, you just can't just... Oh, nothing except my job as director of the security command room. Huh? Since when? Come to think of it, I do recall seeing your name sprinkled around some of our materials. I see, I never read those, hence my confusion. You what? Here we go. You probably should have mentioned this to you all sooner. Whoops. One question. If you're the head of security, why are you here instead of the command room? Taking a little break. Please. Dudley has full authority while we're on site. With my permission, of course. So you see, there's no reason for me to be in the command room. Too many leaders spoil the group, as it were. Think of it however you like. As your superior, I know what is best for the operation. Now then, you six just focus on not getting in Dudley's way. Yes, sir. Did not see much of Kuro to see what it really is. Well, I mean, there are presidents in other countries and things like that, but I just feel like there have been some circumstances and some things mentioned where I'm like, you know, this could be the United States. You know, maybe it's a stretch, maybe it's not, but, you know, maybe. Captain Grant, a pleasure to see you. Hey, Grant, working hard? Good day, Sergeant Major Seeker. You as well, Sergeant Orlando. Is Sergeant Major a lower rank than Sergeant? You would think that if you had more titles attached to the end of your first title, that would make you a higher rank. But what do I know? Though I suppose neither of you is technically part of the CGF at the moment. That's true, but my leave is only temporary. You can address me by whatever you find easiest. I don't really care either way. Are you two the only representatives from the CGF on this floor? That we are. It's out of consideration for the dignitaries and members of the press, you might say. Part of the CGF's orders for this assignment is to stay out of their sight and minimize exposure, hence the bare-bones deployment. Sounds like the reasoning goes deeper than that. It does. Essentially, the decision is a way of tiptoeing around the two major powers. While the Guardian Force's weaponry is restricted by state law, it still functions the same as any other state military. We stay within budget, but a great deal of our funding goes toward maintaining and improving the arms we're allowed to have. Those expenditures would be an easy point of contention if they were out in the open during the conference. Out of sight and out of mind, in other words. Diplomacy can be one fickle mistress. All true, but I try not to think about it too much. In the end, both of us are only up here for appearance's sake. Still, there's an entire company of guardsmen one story below, ready to mobilize at a moment's notice. Should anything happen, they'll be on this floor within seconds, rest assured. Good to know. We'll be counting on you if it comes to that. Security division. Oh, this is the room. Da room. Watching the building through this monitor, you can tell everybody on security details on extra high alert. This would be a lot simpler if these terrorists turned out to be unfounded, wouldn't they? Infrastructure we've set up here allows us to consolidate and parse every bit of security data. Yada yada, this and that. What's up, duds? There you all are. Have you noticed anything amiss? No, not yet. That monitor over there gives you a security overview of the entire tower at once, right? Correct. We have access to every critical area of the building in real time. That includes the conference room, of course. Thankfully, this tower is equipped with the most advanced security system on the continent. Numerous locations are beginning to incorporate video surveillance, as I recall, from the IBC to Orbital stores. I've never seen such a large quantity of them in one place, however. How many there are is only half of it. The fact this technology even exists is amazing on its own. Wouldn't be surprised to see them used to survey areas outside the city someday. CGF's days might be numbered, Noel. I don't think it'll ever be that simple. How widespread they become is going to depend on the public's approval. Digressions aside, they're a more than welcome convenience for this assignment. Without any leads on the terrorist plans, all we can do is nip things in the bud the moment they strike, whether right before or just after. That's why we have to keep our eyes sharp. We can't afford to overlook even the tiniest detail. If you come across anything suspicious, be sure to report it at once. Understood. Right. Haven't caught any wind of terrorist activity. Well, you keep looking. I'll keep relaxing. It's very interesting that they have pictures of Orcus Tower in here already. It was just unveiled, what, a day ago? So they printed out that giant picture already? That's a little crazy. Then again, I don't know how long it takes to develop a photo. It's definitely not a painting. What artist would be making a painting that big in a day? Come on. We'll talk to Grace last. The Ardent Press. You're a photographer with the Tyrell Times, if I'm not mistaken. That's right, I'm still only a rookie. Said Ardent Press, right? I mean, you're from Remiferia. We may be from different countries, but we're not competitors today. I'm looking forward to working with you. Likewise, here's hoping we get the story we're looking for. I haven't heard too many positive remarks about the Crossbell Police in the past. However, seeing how tight the building security is, I'm getting the exact opposite impression today. Right. Yada yada, this and that. Mr. Parker. Mr. Claude. Claudie. Alright, what y'all got to say? Good to see you, SSS. Hey, if it ain't Lloyd and Company, as well as an airplane. Feels like we've been waiting forever for this trade conference to kick off, doesn't it? The main event of all main events. Crossbell's leadership and representatives from 4 nearby countries in a bonanza of international discourse. And of course, a big to-do like this demands a primetime venue, Orcus Tower, the continent's first true skyscraper. Can you feel it? The nerves in the air? I'm so tense that my heart's about to jump out of my chest. There's another one. Now hearts are jumping out of chests. I definitely see the tension, but honestly, you don't look the least bit nervous to me. I suspect the nerves are coming less from her and more from her future prospective victims/interviewees. Tio, you're back, and you brought that trademark snark along with you, too. I'll admit, I'm not so much anxious as I am giddy, but enough about that. There's someone I want to introduce you to. Meet Nocticia. Nauticia. Nauticia. How do you even say that? Nauticia. I don't know. This is the special support section. Nice to meet you. I've seen you all in the papers before. You look like an even finer team in person. I'm Nauticia, a reporter from the Liberal News. Thanks for keeping us all safe for the day. Happy to be of service. Heard the Liberal News Service is the largest publication in the kingdom. That's right. They've also been getting a lot of attention in the journalism world for another reason. 2 of their own reporters were awarded the Pulitzer Prize last year. Pulitzer Prize. If I remember correctly, they gave that to the most outstanding journalist on the continent each year. That's the one. Anyway, the latest recipients are a duo by the name of Niall Burns and Dorothy Hyatt. I know those 2 names. Do those sucker fools really deserve the Pulitzer Prize award thingy? I don't know about all that. It's nice to get a little call back to them, though. Niall's our ace reporter, and Dorothy's a brilliant camerawoman. So the kingdom took home the crown last year, huh? 2 guesses as to what the prize-winning story was. Could it have been about the strange phenomenon that happened in Liberal around that time? Right again. Though technically, everything they covered leading up to the incident factored into the decision too. I see, they sound very impressive. They were just kind of there, you know. Yeah, I guess so. But that doesn't mean we'll just lie down and let them outshine us. It's every reporter's dream to win the Pulitzer Prize at least once in their career. And if you want to win the next one... My mouse decided to pop up and that distracted me. If you want to win the next one, then you'd better get the best scoop you can each and every day, especially this one. You got that, Rhines? We can't let any of these news hounds get the jump on us. Yes, ma'am. If Grace gets any more fired up, the orbital sprinkler system might go off. Let's hope she can behave herself at least. Alright, I'm gonna save. Get a drink of water. Alrighty. Alright, that's 1 patrol down. Nothing unusual to report at the moment. Yep, so far so good. Might as well make another loop around. Good plan. You know, I can't help but wonder if the conference is going smoothly. Me too. I know the mayor and speaker are doing their best, but that's a tough room they've got in there. The Blood and Iron Chancellor and President Rocksmith present the greatest challenge. That they do. Want to ask someone how it's been going during the intermission. I hope they don't make me make my rounds and go talk to everybody again. There's a game. There's a Trails game that does that. When you're reading all the text out loud, it's incredibly exhausting. It's like an hour of just straight reading. It's so insane. The trade conference finally reached its halfway point. Before the intermission officially began, the heads of state held a brief press conference for the media. Meanwhile, Lloyd and the others took the opportunity to speak with Mr. Grimwood, who'd started his break ahead of the others. That explains it. Things being as precarious as they are, the SSS was asked to assist with the security detail. Exactly. I'm not sure how much of a difference we really make in the grand scheme, though. We may only be additional peace of mind. Don't sell yourself short, my friend. You're the team that thwarted an assassination. I destroyed that by adding a couple of H's in there, but attempt on our previous mayor. It's reassuring to have you all here. That's kind of you to say. Yeah, thanks for the vote of confidence. How is the conference going, Mr. Grimwood? Things appear to be proceeding smoothly thus far. That's a fair assessment. Talks are slow, but steady for now. The participating nations have already agreed to several trade deals. Mayor Croy's efforts are truly beginning to pay off for all of us. Thank goodness. That puts my mind at ease. Slow but steady for now, you say. Do you think things may get rocky in the second half? Oh? There's something you're concerned about. I doubt I hold the jurisdiction to tell you this as an observer on the sidelines, but the focal point of the first half of the conference centered on proposals that affect such fields as trading and finance. The second half, on the other hand, will be reserved for proposals from each of the various heads of state. That is undoubtedly when the topic of Crossbell's defenses will be addressed. But if they do that, it'll only be a matter of time before foreign military presence enters the equation. But what about the Non-Aggression Pact? It's only been 2 years since it was signed. Queen of Liberl did push the pact into being with Crossbell's best interests in mind, but technically, 2 of the nations participating today never signed that pact, Remetheria and, well, Crossbell itself. Crossbell going to invade itself? Come on. In light of that, it's only inevitable that a new continental security framework will be discussed. Likely so. My grandfather shares your concerns and expectations both. Would drafting up a new pact and having Crossbell sign it this time not be the simplest solution? It has to be. They could model the framework after the Non-Aggression Pact and prohibit military force between all nations. Oh, I get it. Crossbell isn't technically a nation. The Empire and the Republic only recognize Crossbell as an autonomous state. It's as you say, Crossbell lacks the sovereignty to enter an international treaty. Economic arrangements alone are not grounds for the state to enter into formal pacts as its own entity. That fine line we tread is precisely what puts the state of Crossbell in jeopardy. Sort of getting it, but this definitely isn't cut and dry. Excuse me, but I have something I would like to ask. Crossbell is not the only autonomous state on the continent. Lamon, Ored, and North Ambria, for instance. Are those states also barred from entering into international treaties? No, they're not. It's true that each state has its own set of historical circumstances as to why they've remained states instead of forming nations. However, each has also been recognized by the major powers as independent with sovereignty of their own. So they have equal standing. Exactly, they're treated very differently than Crossbell, primarily because their sovereignty is recognized by the Holy City of Arteria. Holy City of Arteria, as in the high seat of the Septian Church. Yes, as a city-state, Arteria's territory is small, but the church holds religious authority across the continent. Numerous autonomous states and free cities owe their establishment to the church's aid. Then you have Crossbell, whose autonomy was gifted to it by Erebonian Calvard. That's how we're in the unique position of having two suzerain powers above us. I have no idea what suzerain means, but I believe I've seen that word and heard that word many times. And that has historically led to Crossbell being dragged into their conflicts time and time again. If Crossbell only had a modicum of sovereignty, we could work to improve the situation. But if consent from both countries is what it will take for that to become a reality, then there is basically no hope. I wish I could disagree. Put that way, it does seem bleak. Getting back to the topic at hand, I would expect the Chancellor and President to have their ideas regarding Crossbell security. Naturally, each country's terms for their respective proposals will differ vastly. The Speaker and Mayor will have to be wary of what we stand to gain or lose. Apologies, my young friends. I'm sure you already have enough on your minds. Remember that Speaker McDowell is no stranger to matters such as these. And I get the sense Mayor Croy still has some cards to play himself. You think he has a plan, but what could it be? I don't know the particulars myself. Nevertheless, it could very well. Sorry, I should take this. Lloyd, speaking. Banning's the press conference has concluded. The dignitaries are now headed to the 36th floor. Where are you? We're still in the break room on the 34th. Was there something you needed us to do? Yes, actually. We were contacted by both Chancellor Osborne and President Rocksmith. They each requested to speak with the SSS during the intermission. They what? Given who they are, I hope you understand we're in no position to turn them down. The SSS is to visit both of them during the intermission. And that's an order. The President is staying in the furthest room on the West Wing corridor while the Chancellor is on the furthest of the East. Hold on a second. I get that we can't refuse, but why ask for us? This is a lot of pressure, Dudley. Don't be such a child, Bannings. This is an excellent opportunity to get some insight on what each side is after. You're right. Okay, we'll head there right away. Lean on McDowell if the goings get rough. She's the one on your team best suited to handling these situations. Report to me once you're finished. Understood. What was that about, Lloyd? They need to get some speakerphones on these things, man. You were getting real riled up there. What's going on, bud? Brace yourselves. He explained things. Excuse me? You're joking. Not that I can discern. He seems entirely serious. This is certainly a surprise. The Special Support Section's name is more well known than I thought. I don't know about that. I suspect it's because we're familiar with several members of their personnel. That's the only reason for their interest in us that I can think of. Might be onto something there. Regardless of the reason, there's no way we could possibly decline. Don't I know it? Let's head up to the 36th floor. Dudley said the rooms are on the furthest ends of the east and west wings. We don't want to keep them waiting. Roger. Yes, sir. Bert. Bert's a name. That's... I see, and that's when you ran into Lucy. Yep. I was only in Rumaferi on business, too. Guess she caught wind. I tried to run, but she caught me. I must be losing my touch. Can you even guess how many bonks over the head she gave me? Not a one. She hugged you instead, with tears in her eyes, didn't she? Dang it. I can tell exactly how Lucy feels, you know. She's probably well aware of just how dangerous your day-to-day is. I'm sure she's been worried sick. Man, a woman's intuition is no joke. It makes my spine tingle. I never do know how to handle them. Maybe, but you brought it upon yourself. This really does take me back. It's been so long since I've seen Leo, too. I'd love for us all to have a reunion. Why the long face, Lecter? Isn't this the part where you say, yeah, let's have a bash at Michelin and party till we drop? Not a bad impression. No promises, but I'll see what I can do. Just don't hold your breath, alright? I know, but won't you be able to stop me from looking forward to it? But you won't be able to stop me from looking forward to it anyway. Now then, I should be going. If you'll please excuse me. No problem, and hey, don't forget to say hi to Sieg for me. Still owe him that salami. I believe this is a callback to Lecter going to the same school as Claudia. And I believe, based off of all the things that people tell me that I've missed out on in Trails the Sky the Third, there is a door scene where you get to learn more about Lecter and his time at school. And, you know, for some reason people think that's very important information that you just have to know. But, you know, I have a better mind on this head of mine than other minds that could possibly be on this head of mine. And I decided against it. Oh, she's really come into her own. Liberl couldn't ask for a better crown princess. You guys think so too, right? Oh, I think he said busted. Alright, we didn't mean to eavesdrop. We didn't hear much, I assure you. Didn't you, Ellie? You seemed very invested in their relationship from where I was standing. Tio. Well, she ain't the only one. You and the princess sure seem close. What's the story there? I was her upperclassman back in school. Prep, I mean, not Sunday school. Genus Royal Academy, to be specific. Genus Royal Academy? One of Liberl's more prestigious institutions, isn't it? That's right. It's not unheard of for them to accept students from abroad, but... Did you study there on taxpayers' money? Nah, old man Gilead paid my tuition out of pocket. Well, it's about time I hit the old dusty trail myself. Well, that reminds me, you got called in to talk to the head honchos, right? They're both real pains in the butt to deal with, so good luck in there. What? I feel like after I got that scene, I should probably go to the other floors and just, you know, double check that there's not going to be any other scenes. Could he be any more sketchy if he tried? Who would have thought the next Queen of Liberl went to school with an Imperial spy? Truth is stranger than fiction, as they say. Whatever the case, we can't forget that he's a subordinate of the Blood and Iron Chancellor. As for what he's after personally, I think we'll have to figure that out for ourselves. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and check out the other floor 35, just real quick. Real quick. Should have known. There's a bunch of missable scenes with characters I probably want to see those scenes with. Is that Arios and Kilika? I believe so. What could they be talking about? Nearly a year has gone by since you left the guild. Are you adjusting well to your new job? More or less. Though the workload is so much heavier, it doesn't even begin to compare. So I imagine. And how has Shizuku been? As cheerful as ever, though sometimes I feel as though she's a bit too accommodating for a child her age. She was recently blessed with a wonderful friend as well. I've noticed that she smiles more often since then. Good to hear. It's already been half a decade since Saya's passing, hasn't it? Not to mention 6 years since our first meeting. That's right, 6 years. You were wandering the continent when you came across Saya in Crossbell City by chance. As I remember it, she insisted you stay with your family while you were in town, no matter how much you tried to refuse. Imagine my surprise when I saw you working for the Bracer Guild in the Burl 3 years later. The goddess works in mysterious ways. You never quite know what threads will end up tying people together. I'll never forget the hospitality the two of you showed me back then. My only regret is that I was unable to return the favor to her. There's no need to dwell. The fact that you remember it to this day would be more than enough for Saya. Sounds like those two knew each other before they met through the guild. Evidently so, but I feel like it would be rude to listen in any further. I agree, we should leave before we interrupt them. Or I'll just walk up and interrupt them. I just remembered, Estelle and Joshua wanted to see you when you came earlier in the year. They were disappointed to miss you when they heard you and Lynn had a lunch together during the anniversary festival. Were they? It wasn't my intention to give them the cold shoulder. If time had permitted, I would have been more than happy to do a little catching up. That being said, I have heard plenty about their achievements while they were here in Crossbell. It's amazing to think that those are the same two rookies who came through the doors of Zeiss Branch 2 years ago. Indeed, they were invaluable to us during their stay. Should have expected as much from a pair that was raised by Cassius. I look forward to seeing how they continue to grow. That's right, Kilika used to be a Bracer Guild receptionist in Laburl. That explains how she knows Estelle and Joshua. It's a small world, as they say. People often have fewer degrees of separation between them than you'd expect. And we just got another scene for free. And it just keeps going. Incidentally, I've heard that you've been keeping in contact with Zin. You could say that. Though we rarely get the chance to meet anymore, our positions being what they are. That's enough eavesdropping for one day. We should move along. Nah, sucker. Oh, okay. Alright. That was fun, though, you know, just... Like, yeah. I'll take, several scenes like that. Wasn't expecting them to actually give me that. An amazing view, blah, blah, blah. Man, there's notion is absurd. We're convinced. Y'all doing? Alright, now to straighten out this microphone. Admit, get a bit of a jittery, blah, blah, blah. Alright, none of you people have anything important to say. Let's save before we go into this room. Alright, it's a tower heist. Hello, Angie. Yeah, we're in the middle of an intermission. Well, that's right. Class 7 is at Gorelia Fortress right now. I'm a little worried about what the Imperial Liberation Front is up to, but they should be fine as long as Crow's with them. I'll keep an eye out over on my end, so you guys be sure to do the same. That's not like any orbment I've ever seen before. Must have been co-developed by the Foundation and the Rangford Company. Whatever it is that girl was talking about, though, she seemed pretty on top of it all. Not just anyone can do that sort of thing. Huh? You love me? Angie, this is a serious situation here. Well, keep an eye on my same, so you be sure to do the same. Yeah, that sounds like Angie, all right. It's very, very cool that Tawa is here. Like, I knew Tawa was gonna be here, but she's even talking about things that are like relevant right now, and you know, it's one of those nice little trails things. Huh? Seems the elevator's arrived. How about that? Please, after you. Oh, I couldn't. You go on ahead. Quite all right. I promise you I'm in no particular hurry. No, I insist. You were here first. It's so funny to me that I was just doing this joke earlier to just be silly and stupid. And then here they go, and like they're just basically doing this point for point like I was doing it. What's up, Lloyd? Take a look at those two soldiers by the elevator. They appear to be trying to compromise on who rides the elevator first. This is kind of painful to watch. Look at them go, like an awkward couple on a first date to the anniversary festival. We can forego using the elevator for now, if only to spare us the emotional turmoil. Yeah, good call. Oh, so that scene with Homeboy Slice, like you basically have to get that scene because you can't take the elevator. Or well, maybe you can. Go down here. Fun fact, none of it was in the original. Got added in the PS4 port. Oh, retconning the addition of Tawa in Azure. Aha. Oh, this is where you ran off to. So, you're a coffee connoisseur too, eh, Grizzly Grim? You and the Chancellor would get along just fine. Oh, I take it His Excellency often enjoys a good cup himself, then. Yep, he likes it how he likes his despair, black as ink on a moonless evening. Mr. JRPG recognizes a little bit of that. I wonder if this was also in the original, because this means something to me. You know, a line that goes along the lines of "in ink black as despair." Probably the editor having their fun. You know, that's probably a good point there. He loves the stuff. I don't think I've ever seen him blink in all the years I've known him. That's so. Well, that explains how he manages to keep his eyes on the ball all the time. Chancellor and caffeine sound like a very intense combination. As dark and bitter as he likes his coffee. Since Nisa started working on the trails, yeah. I do like, I like that though. It's really nice to that I can get those callbacks, and it's all because, you know, I played the games, quote, out of order. You know, some people got their own little callbacks and stuff like that from, you know, playing the games in order, and then I get, you know, these callbacks, which, you know, are just as interesting. All right. Apparently he has an enigma as well. What's going on over here? How many times must I tell you the press isn't allowed past here? It's still intermission though, right? Can't you just, you know, look the other way? We promise we only want to take a few photos. They won't even know we're here or there. That's right. I can't go back to Grace empty-handed. Please, let us through. Persistent as ever. Good luck trying to tell a reporter where they can and can't go. Well, as long as no one's trying to physically force their way through, they're not breaking any rules. I guess so. This is just all part of being a member of the press, right? Either way, we may as well give up hope on using the elevators right now. I think there's been a couple of scenes in this game where I have, or maybe not scenes, but maybe like lines of dialogue, or maybe like character placements and things like that, where I have thought to myself, you know, maybe this was added, you know, for this version or something like that. But I guess if they had a PS4 version, then there's plenty of opportunity to do that then as well. What's up, dog? We're done deliberating for now, and I'm absolutely exhausted after facing both Osborne and Rocksmith at once. Oh, now, don't sell yourself short. Your lordship, you've grown quite capable of commanding the room when needed. I'd say your predecessors would be proud of the way you handled yourself in there. It's been 5 years since I ascended to the throne. Ramiferia's domestic order has finally been secured, but I've much to learn as a statesman. Oh, look who it is. Good afternoon, Special Support Section. Pardon our interruption. Ah, so you're the Special Support Section. It's a pleasure to meet you. I've heard so much about your exploits from Arios. You know Arios, your lordship? I do. I've enjoyed a healthy rapport with the Bracer Guild for quite some time now. Arios in particular has long been a close personal friend of mine. Wow, I never would have guessed. Of course, he's not the only crossbelly I'm acquainted with. It's good to see you again, Ellie. You've achieved so much during your time with the Special Support Section, from what I hear. You flatter me, your lordship. I'm glad to see that you're doing well. Well, Ellie knows the Grand Prince of Remiferia? Her vast network of connections is nothing new, but to think it spreads so far as to include a world leader. Mademoiselle Ellie's running around in social circles us plebs couldn't even dream of. It's a great comfort indeed to have Crossbell's famed police division on security detail. As a matter of fact, I'm told you once even saved Speaker McDowell's life. It would seem we're in good hands. I think you may be expecting a little too much from us. Not at all. I too find your presence here most reassuring. We'll need that peace of mind to properly navigate the second half of the conference. About that, do you expect the upcoming discussions to become problematic, Grandfather? I do. Unlike the first half, I suspect the faults of Crossbell's state will be thrust into the spotlight one after another, to which the major powers will no doubt be as demanding as they've ever been. However, I'm also concerned about Dieter. During our latest diet session, he was rather enthusiastic about introducing some truly radical ideas. Such drive comes with youth, and I do respect that. However, I worry about what direction it might take us today. I hadn't thought about it that way. Mr. Grimwood alluded to Mayor Croy having some kind of plan for the last half of the conference. I can't profess to know the details myself, but I'm certain he'll bring it to the table sooner or later. And whether it turns out for good or for ill depends entirely on how the conference proceeds. Isn't that right, Speaker? Precisely. As Speaker, it is imperative that I lend my utmost support to Mayor Croy during the trade conference. No simple duty, to be sure, but I will do what I can to fulfill it. Of course, best of luck, Grandfather. That was a nice little conversation. Mr. JRPG, I've always wanted to ask this, and I'm not sure if you would know the answer to this, but it's definitely something I've kept on my mind. I think it's something that I won't necessarily catch if I get around to playing these games or those games, but the Calvard games, do those take place like during, I'm gonna say, the Cold Steel saga or the Crossbell saga, as I guess those kind of line up to each other, or does that take place afterwards? Do you happen to know that? You know what's funny? You actually know the lead video editor at the localization team for Falcom games. He's a fellow otter. Mr. JRPG knows him too, actually. His name is Chuger Melon. Oh, interesting. Talk to him every now and then. Super sweet dude. We met him initially through a longtime friend in Mod Toburito. Ah, that's cool. Furthest in the timeline. Okay. It's nice that they're moving the story forward, although I do have to admit that it would be interesting to kind of see all the nations and what they're doing during the most tumultuous times in Zemuria. But, we'll see. May I ask you a question, Sieg? How do you suppose Grandmother would have handled this if she'd been the one to come? You have a point. I suppose I can't help being the way I am. Oh, hello, SSS. Sorry if we're interrupting, Your Highness. It's nothing to concern yourselves over. I was merely thinking aloud, to be honest. I'm glad you came to visit, Your Highness. Are you also concerned over what may happen during the second half of the conference? Partially, yes. But I was actually reflecting on something a tad broader. As Crown Princess, I have a fair bit of knowledge when it comes to diplomatic negotiations. But to be a good negotiator takes many skills, insight, judgment, and objectivity, for instance. The first half of the conference made me painfully aware that I still have room for growth in those particular areas. So that's what's bothering you. Give yourself some credit. Knowing where you can improve is half the battle. That's right. And you're still only as old as Lloyd, Ellie, and myself, Your Highness. You're an inspiration, if you ask me. Very kind of you to say. Still, being timid in a room like that is unavoidable at this stage of my career. But though the continent's troubles wait for no one, I nevertheless have to learn at my own pace and take everything in stride. That's a good approach. Just don't forget to cut loose and relax every now and then. Like now, for example. You only get one intermission. It'd be a shame to waste it. Wazy, I swear to Adios, if you're thinking of inviting her out for a drink, or worse, it's alright. I was never one for excessive formalities. The lack of it is quite relaxing, actually. Though now that I think about it, perhaps nostalgic is a better word. When I'm around all of you, I feel as if I'm speaking with Estelle, Joshua, and the rest of our friends. Well, you ain't even gonna mention the rest of the friends? Come on, man. I'm not sure we can really compare, Your Highness. Well, I'd have to disagree with you on that. Yes. Would any of you care for some tea? No, we couldn't possibly. As much as I would love to, we have somewhere else we need to be. My apologies, I should have anticipated that. I won't keep you any longer. Please be careful today, everyone. I wish you all the best. And rest assured that I will be giving my very utmost during the second half of the conference. We'll be rooting for you, Your Highness. The president's room is in the furthest one in the West Wing. We need to visit him before meeting with the Chancellor. What? Why do we have to meet him before? Wanted to go visit the other rooms and then visit these guys last. I guess I'm not going to be able to do that. Okay, I'm going to take a small break here